everyone, and welcome. We have an awesome amount of value to share here today in this webinar and video around one of the most popular topics, client acquisition. Everyone wants it. Everyone wants to know how to do it. So we're going to talk conceptually about what is working out there in the industry for a lot of the fastest growing practices at XFA that we work with. We have a couple stars here, Trey Carruthers from the Dallas area, Arlington, Texas, Will Street from Shreveport, Louisiana. They're getting some great results here. We're going to hear direct from them on what's working. But let's start high level, and then we'll kind of narrow down and go through some of the process here when it comes to client acquisition. So first, I would say is that one of the reasons that practices don't get client acquisition is capacity. They get busy with clients and they don't have time to perform the activities that got them clients along the way. So we've had webinars and plenty of videos around capacity. Go and watch those if you want to learn more there. But it's sticking to the activities, the practices that consistently do the things that lead to new clients. They're the ones that continually grow. And I tell you, organic growth is one of the most profitable things that can occur, right? It doesn't cost a lot to acquire a client. It costs a lot to go out and buy a practice. It costs a lot to acquire business other ways, but just, getting referral, getting organic growth, it's really very, very high profit thing to do. So it's a more around, I think the techniques too, there's different profitability levels. Like for example, a direct referral is super profitable. Putting on an event might be a little bit bigger investment. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But if you look at industry data, let's start there at a high level. In our industry, the financial advisor industry, vast majority new clients are coming to their advisor from a referral from existing client. We'll say that again. The greatest way affluent clients are meeting their advisor is through a referral from existing client. The second way, and it's a far distant second way, is through some kind of professional introduction. And so that's like CPA, maybe attorney, just some other professional who works with customers who might be a fit to be your customers. They make some introduction, a referral happens. That's the third. That's the second. Third, and everything else, it's really minuscule. There are some ways that people might have some natural market, they might have some activity or something that they do. To me, events and things like that, a lot of times it's either tied to, hey, it's like natural market, it's people I know, or it's tied to clients. So it's sort of a firm of manufacturing referrals in a way, is really what events are. So to me, it's just very clear where they're coming from and where they're not. We've got a ton of videos on, ways to discuss referrals. And for those of you that are on live, we're going to share a resource. We put together a lot more detail on the greatest way to position referrals that's working like crazy easy for a lot of advisors. We're going to share that at the end, give that away for everyone for being online. We thank you for taking the time to being on here. But let's get into the tactics and how to make this work. And let's just go right to our stars here and talk a little bit more about this. So first we have Trey Carruthers, again from Arlington, Texas, booming, growing part of the country here. So Trey has consistently had great results for multiple years in client acquisition. And now he's getting to the point, he's got two other advisors on his team that they're bringing in things, that they're working. We'll get to that. But let's just start at a high level for you, Trey. I mean, what's really been working for consistently for multiple years when it comes to your firm acquiring many more new clients?
Yeah, so to your point earlier about referrals, is creating an environment for referrals, and that just comes from having satisfied clients. And so just following our client service model, consistently meeting with them, reviewing their information, updating their plans, doing ongoing planning. And because of that connectivity to clients, they're comfortable referring us to new potential clients. As you mentioned, as we've onboarded new advisors, we can also receive referrals. So we have created the capacity to onboard new clients where I don't feel like I'm just inundated with processing and the work that it takes to go through the steps of onboarding a new client. So it's really just been sticking to our client service model for years, and it's led to probably the last 3 or 4 years double-digit plus clients, new clients, new planning clients at that, not just the assets, but new planning clients and ongoing business, even during the down market of 2022.
So a small number of people we're going really, really deep with, and I'm talking like this level of deep, right? I mean,
Mhm.
Trey's doing, I mean, talk about, we talked earlier, talk about some of the level of like, monthly contact you're doing with some of
Yeah.
these top connectors.
Yeah. And it's through the service model, what I found was that there's a particular set of clients that I just communicated with on a monthly basis, almost without purpose of it. And so what I figured out is the more I communicated with those specific clients, the more it would lead us to referral opportunities, but also new business. So there's a small set of clients that we have 30-minute monthly time set for. That are high level platinum, what we would call platinum clients. So significant assets are referability and the potential for new business. And so now I'm building that out over my team, is identifying, okay, who can refer you to the next great client, or who can bring in assets at a high level. You want to be in front of them consistently, because it's just creating opportunities. It may not fall on a quarterly or semi-annual basis. It could just be from just staying connected monthly, and their clients actually look forward to it. The higher net worth individuals want more contact with their financial professional.
It's every survey says it, right? And I've there's so many times I've said this. You want to attract new clients, you got to start with what's the client experience like, and all that starts with how often are they hearing from you. So
Mhm.
you can tell if your practice is receiving referrals without you even asking, you're there. When I talk to practices, say, hey, I'm not getting referrals. Well, we know that the problem is it's not a referable experience is probably
Yep,
the case, right? So it's
100%.
great to see Trey has dug in and done this. And if you want more information about, we got, plenty of videos out there on client experience, how to pull off, supernova advisor level monthly contact. It's not that much work, but remember, listen to what Trey said. It's not everyone is getting this.
No,
It's a smaller number of just platinum level, which is super, top tier clients is getting those special extra touches, but they love it. And they bring the goods. They send in more clients.
they
So
introduce.
there's another level I think is really interesting here, that when we get this stream started, it starts here with creating such a great experience that just stuff comes in. I'm telling you, I mean, you don't really have to ask or do anything. It just kind of happens. If you ask on top of it and discuss,
Mhm.
like, hey, how can we help more people like you? It just, it gets even better. We'll get to the ask at the end here of the webinar, but Trey, talk about this new level you've kind of unlocked, that you're bringing in a lot of people. And now that you've got, added one advisor to your team, just had another advisor to your team this year, as you bring people in, you don't have to personally work with them. You can now position, you've got a firm of people, and that can help. So what is that like if you get a referral that's maybe not, the person that would be platinum level that you might be
Mhm.
running with, and maybe a different level that someone else on your team would more run? How do you handle that? Do you focus on bringing them in and hand off? Like, what is all that like? What's the conversation like?
Yeah, so at the introductory level, there's a template email that we send out before we schedule the initial meeting. It includes our menu of services, a financial profile, and the expenses form, all from Ameriprise. So we didn't create anything originally. And then we have a system where that information is imported in the CRM, and we're working to schedule that meeting with the prospect. Once I qualify the prospect in the initial phone call, or depending on who referred them, I may already have some qualifications in advance. Then I'll speak with them and just simply state, you'll be working with someone within my practice. I'm involved in all prep during the course of the week. I'm involved in all planning, but we want to provide a certain level of service to you. And for you to maintain, or for you to receive that level of service, you'll be working with this advisor. And so that's all part of the system. That's part of the introduction, and just taking the steps to introduce them to the team. So we even have a presentation that can be shown during the course of meetings that shows the entire staff, the entire team. And so the clients just want, and what we found is as we transition clients, the fact that clients can have their own individual advisor or someone that they know that they can contact immediately, or the response time is what they're looking for, they're content with that. So it took me to get over the mental hurdle of thinking that everyone had to work with me. People just want a personal relationship with the advisor of whatever practice it is. And so once you get to that phase, it makes it easier to introduce any referrals that you may receive to your advisors that are working with you.
Yeah, it's really good confirmation. I like that you said it's we got to kind of get what's in between our own ears on this one. You know, a lot of the I'm looking at a lot of people on live, and a lot of the practices we work with are larger, and it is about you're going to work with somebody else, not just the owner. And it's great to hear that people might hear about you, they might get referred from you, but you can smoothly position, hey, somebody else is like going to be accessible and help you out. It's really is important because you can't, you know, everyone listening, you can't work with everyone. Even if you don't have other advisors on your team, it's okay to maybe have a partnership with another practice that might be able to service people who aren't a fit for you. You can position kind of the way that Trey just did that works so smoothly, but maybe somebody else is handling the people that aren't quite an exact fit for you, because it goes back to that initial problem why we don't acquire, you know, more people. It's just get filled up, and we don't do the things that, you know, matter. Creating a great experience, which, you know, starts with reaching out to people a lot, and then, you know, when you get to it, is exploring those opportunities to, you know, explore a referral. Is there someone at work who we could also be helping together? Is there, you know, neighbors, whatever it might be, their access to people. That's what we're looking for. People have access to others just like them. That's the whole key. And you don't have to do this with everyone. Let's Trey, a small number of clients. You can even in your practice, if there's 3 people in your practice, literally 3 who have ever referred you, just start doing this stuff with them. Give them the better experience. Have the discussions with them that we'll go over at the end of the webinar. It's really straightforward, really simple. Yeah. So,
and I'll add just one thing. When you identifying who that person is that refers, don't start with assets under management. Just understand who is the person that will pull out the bullhorn and promote your practice, because they can lead you to a larger client. And so who is the person that is an advocate first? And cultivate the relationship with that person.
That is great insights. Well, thank you, Trey. It was awesome to hear when someone gets such massive results and consistently doing well. Keep it simple, it's focused, and it really works. And so that's what I want everyone to take away. It's not doing 50 activities. It's not some silver secret bullet that Trey found under the desk that no one knew about. It's just, it's consistently, and it's simple, but it's focused. It's targeted on the right things. And that's what everyone should really take away here. So great stuff. Now over the years, Trey did some really cool events, in Will Street, who's with Rosestone, awesome practice out of Shreveport, but they're kind of a regional practice. They got action over in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Let's see, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Atlanta, all kinds of places, which is exciting. So Will's got some great stuff going around events. We're also going to talk about follow-up, which is really working with him there. Remember, to me, events, it's kind of a way, I always thought about it, it's a way to like manufacture an opportunity, kind of manufacture like introductions to other people, and they really work here. So let's dive right into it, Will. What's working for you in the doing fun events with people?
Well, first of all, I just wanted to say that the real secret to being able to bring in new clients other than referrals, to me, is trying new things. A lot of people, they kind of, look at what they're doing and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do. Well, if it's not working, you do something different. And there are lots of sources out there that can give you the information on what to do. I've been here for almost 6 years, and I was in the first AFA program. And in that first AFA program, they were doing some things, I'm not super excited about getting on LinkedIn and sending messages. But when I was like, you know what, I haven't been doing well. So I'm going to do whatever they tell me to do. And so I tried everything they had for me to try. And just on the LinkedIn messages, I had a LinkedIn, just message to an old doctor of mine. He was my doctor when I was, I don't know, in my 20s. And just like, hey, just wanted to say hi and talk about volatility, and everything's kind of crazy right now with COVID and blah, blah, blah. He responded to that 2.5 years later.
That's awesome.
And said, let's have lunch. And we had lunch, and now I have $2.5 million. So, it's being open. Ameriprise puts all these things out, and it's not just fluff. They've either had some success with it, or they've had, there's some reason they're trying to give it to you. But as far as events go, and this kind of ties back into that guy, when you're doing an event, so far, I've had the most success with smaller, more intimate events.
Love it.
Around one person. And so
awesome formula.
In my last event, this doctor, he'd already said he wanted to do it because he'd been dragging his feet for a long time. I invited him and a couple other doctors that I know and a couple other friends, and they brought 3 new people for me to meet. And then we had this doctor come in for a 4:00 meeting before the event. And by the time we're done with the event, he had signed everything and everything was moving forward. And the reason why was because his wife was there. He was all on board, and he was all telling me, oh yeah, she is too. She didn't know anything about what was going on. She came in, she went through that meeting with a sour look on her face until the end, when she was starting to get a smile. And then she went into that event, and I fed her wine for an hour and a half, and she had a big old smile on her face, and everything, kind of culminated into what it needed to culminate into. But just, and then my next one. So this particular event, it was at a new, really nice restaurant right across the street from our office. I only invited 10 people. They invited 6 other people. So it ended up being about 16 people. I wouldn't really go over 20 because you don't have enough time to have good conversations with more than 20 people. I don't talk about business at all unless they ask me specific questions. From that event, I'm inviting 2 of them back, and then I'm putting the next event around another person. So I'm actually dating a surgeon right now. And so I'm just like, invite all your friends, and so we're going back to doing the same thing. She's inviting, 5 or 6 of her friends, and that'll be, exposure in the same kind of way to a group of people that I have an in with, and that I can have conversations with on their terms and just kind of get to know them. And hopefully something comes of it down the line, but you're planting those seeds.
It's excellent. I like, it's simple, centered around, small number of people. It's easier to put on than like a 100-person event, which is great about it. Hey, let's just go across the street. It's not a big deal. These
but
are
at the
really
same
great
time,
insights.
like I made really nice invitations, gave out golden tickets to the people that I invited to give to people that they wanted to come, to make them kind of feel special about coming. So you can, when it's smaller, you can do these extra things, and it's not that expensive to do these extra things. And they're small, but they come off really well. And so they make it look like you put a lot of effort into it, which you did. But you want them to know that too. And just those kind of little extras that raise the bar a little bit seem to work.
Great. So everyone always asks, what are the events that are working? So food, wine, any other fun things that are working for you?
The other thing that's working for me right now is, so there's having small events around people, good friends, or good clients, or good prospects. But there's also having events around personal things for yourself. Like I am a big tennis player. I played tennis in college, and I still play at a really high level. And because I play at such a high level, I have a hard time finding people to play with. And so I started playing pickleball. because there's always pickleball going on, and I don't have to have a certain level of player really to play with in pickleball. And it's something to kind of fill in the gap when I'm not getting enough time on the court. And so, and I'm really good at it. So, one of the things that I've done is the indoor pickleball facility. I went ahead and spent the money to put an ad up on the wall in the gym, so they're playing me and there's a big old head of me like right here, over my shoulder looking down at them. And it has sparked just tons and tons of conversations because they all want to play with me and kind of spend time on the court with me. And they start just to, that's where conversation takes you is, oh, hey, you got a picture on the wall. Tell me about that. So that I would definitely suggest look at your hobbies, look at the things that you're good at, look at the things that interest you, and then try and work that into getting in front of those people, because that's going to be a lot easier to have a conversation around.
It's a really, really great idea. I shared this book off. We talked about Supernova Advisor, Trey's implementing Supernova Multiplier. It's basically all these different, techniques to acquire clients, and it's exactly what Trey and Will have been talking about here. There's a small number of ways to do it that really work here. Mm-hmm. And, it's great to hear what is working. Now, one last thing here with Will, I think you're doing a phenomenal job of is follow-up, which is the gap. So some people get good at, okay, we're servicing clients. Now we're getting some referrals, but referrals just kind of, float off in the wind because there isn't any follow-up. So what are you doing there that's going from meeting somebody to them actually becoming a client?
Well, and there's a difference between referrals and just like putting on events and trying to just kind of cold bring some people in, right? Referrals should be the easy ones, but it seems like a lot of times we don't get a direct response immediately, and they just kind of float away. And maybe it comes back around later, maybe it doesn't. But if you use CRM and really track it and continue to make yourself tasks, once I've been given a referral, first of all, I ask for a meeting set up, or at least an introduction set up from the person that's referring, so that I'm not just calling them being like, hey, such and such said I should call you. So that personal touch really gets things started better. But once you've got that, I follow up every week. And if I annoy them, then I end up annoying them. Who cares? They're not my client. But I haven't annoyed anybody yet, and I have brought on several new clients. Yes, because I eventually forced them into making a decision because
and
they
that's
didn't want to talk to me anymore.
Yes, and I love what Will's doing here. It's a great lesson for everyone. It's that weird in-between zone where you don't know if they're going to be a client or not. Let's get them through that as quickly as possible, right? And hey, do you hear a no? It's just fine. We'll take a no. One less person to waste time on. You got to get them to a yes or a no. You got to get them to that decision point. And, in the things we can control and can't control, you can control the outreach you do with these people, right? You can organize them in CRM. You can set a task yourself to follow up with them every single week. You can do the outreach and follow up with them every week. You do those things, it works.
Use different mediums to follow up. Use a text, use an email, use a phone call. Do it at different times a day, all right? Because you might just be hitting them at a bad time of day. So I really just kind of pepper them with all these different types of touches. And it seems to eventually, I think in the AFA program, they were telling us 7 touches. 7 touches is the average to turn a prospect into a client. Yeah, that's average.
Right. Meaning it might be more than that.
It might be 15, So that just being tenacious about it and not letting it go is probably the biggest piece of advice I can get, because once you've got it, that's really warm, right? Or hot, maybe even. And just to let it go because maybe it's a bad time for them is not necessarily a good thing. If they come back to you and like, hey, my dad just died, then I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I don't call you next week. I give you a week off. But I'm still gonna like check in with them and, oh, how are things going? I'm sorry to hear that. But I'm not gonna let it go. But using CRM, you can use the functions in there to line them out, cold, warm, hot, and really, and then I've got a whole nother list that it's not any of them, you know, because I don't even consider you cold if I'm not interacting with you at all. You're just a prospect in my system, and I've got probably 500 of them. But I concentrate on the ones that you can only talk to so many people in whatever period of time that you're doing. So if they've at least responded to you on some level, then they're cold, you know, up to, you know, I got the referral and they responded immediately. I had one that called me an hour later, you know.
Awesome.
And she's a planning client now.
That's pretty hot. Yeah. It's good to have that kind of system. And, you know, I think it helps, you know where to focus, that, hey, this person's ready, you know, let's capture them. These people are kind of ready. Hey, this one's, you know, might take a while. So it might help you in your prospect outreach time to kind of prioritize.
And that's just from the client acquisition coaching from Ameriprise.
There you go.
You know, I talk to them every other week. They make sure that I know how to use stuff, and they make sure that I'm doing it.
Awesome. So this is great. You know, thank you, Will. This is awesome insights. Is always, again, great to hear from people where it's working. All of you listening might not be available to date a surgeon, but it also sounds like a great acquisition method. But you know, to go through what we learned here, you know, I keep going back to it. The most important thing is that client experience. It is reaching out to those people more than you think you should, making them feel good. And we'll talk about next, you know, if you do ask for referrals in a certain way, it can take it to the next level. Then it's, hey, it's, you know, positioning those people, following up with them, getting them in here. If it's not working, try some different stuff. Do some fun events around a small event, even centered around one person really works, like the surgeon, their friends. Those kind of activities work, and keep your radar on the personal things that you're doing. You're right. If you have something in life, there's probably people there that you might be connected to who could be really good folks for you to work with. So all these great things work, and then have a system to organize all those prospects and follow up with them. And it really should be dedicated time. If you want to grow your business, you know, go to our friend, I keep referencing him, Rob Knapp. He says in this book, if you want to grow your business by 20%, spend 20% of your time on growing your business. Meaning, take time on some of you do marketing Mondays. Take time to reach out to people, to follow up with those prospects, to have any referral conversations, to discuss what might be due in this individual event, to do any work around that event. To have some time to work on this, to drive it. The activities lead to the results. And if you're consistently doing the activities, you're going to get the results. Now, they might come in waves, right? You might bring many clients and many millions in 1 month. You might get 2 months with nothing. But if you consistently do it, it does work over time. I think some of you on and watching these videos, we don't work with. We'll always make time for you. We work with the fastest growing advisors in the industry. We love doing it. We love helping people with all these growth methods. They work. We learned them from a lot of you here that we do work with. So thank you to all of you we do work with. Keep the results going. Trey, absolute rock star. Will, absolute rock star. Thank you both from sharing. It's great to hear what's working in the field. So everyone stay extraordinary, get big results. Remember, a little bit of time every week, consistency makes a big difference, just like working out.